अखण्डमण्डलाकारम् व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुर्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम साई राम। How does one even begin to talk about the Guru? For those of us who are in this space, we may or may not remember a time before this principle, the Guru Tattva, started operating in our lives in a much more conscious way. Actually, the first Guru is the mother, the father, and then come the teachers, our siblings, our friends. And we go through the vagaries of life, through the ups and the downs, with our limited understanding, which comes from the five senses, stumbling our way forward. And then there is some point in our journey where a steadying hand enters, an energy which holds us when we feel we are fragmenting and breaking down. An energy which begins to operate through us, an energy which begins to lead us. That, for me, is the Guru. The term Guru means somebody who removes the darkness or the ignorance. And when this light, this frequency, this principle begins to operate in our lives, we can never be the same again. For me, as for many people gathered here, the form of the formal Guru came through the loving manifestation of Sai. In the times when one was lost, he would keep reaching out lifting one up, healing one's broken heart with the love of 1,000 mothers. And like a mother, helping and teaching us how to learn to stand and maybe one day walk on our own. In this world of duality that we call Earth, this planetary existence, which has the night and the day, the good and the bad, the light and the dark, it becomes very, very difficult sometimes to find the balance. And in these times of great noise and turmoil and chaos, and interestingly, because of the proliferation of technology and media, every other person is a self styled guru. There is so much of mixed messaging that for a soul who's trying to find the truth or to find what is eternal in this world of impermanence, it can be very, very confusing and chaotic. And that is when grace descends and turns us inwards, because there is one place in this universe where that eternal song is always sung, that eternal voice is always heard, and that space is the space within our own sacred heart. And it's only when we get tired of the noise around us and begin this journey back home by turning inwards that the actual significance of the Guru begins to emerge. Because the eternal voice of that principle, which is timeless, which is transcendent, can only come in the space of silence and stillness. I humbly submit that I had no idea of what I am to speak today, and I still don't, with whatever little of my rational, logical awareness is there at this point. And yet, there is a certain stillness I can already feel in this space. This stillness is the touch of the Guru. It cannot be understood through the logical, rational mind, which serves a purpose but is limited at its best. This touch is the touch of feeling. It is the language of the soul. It is the poetry of the spirit. And it can only be felt deep within the recesses of our heart. As we go through the journey of life, from the time when a child is born, we are given many images, concepts, and understanding of what is right and wrong. We learn from the world around us, from the role models, our parents, teachers. We imbibe, we absorb, and then we reach a point where we are happy with a certain identity we have created, an image of who we are, a comfort with who we have become. But let me tell you, when the Guru, the real Guru, who's none other than the divine, who comes in a living form, begins to operate in our lives, one of the greatest gifts he gives us or she gives us is the deconditioning, the decluttering, the breaking of all images, of all definitions, of all the constructs that we have created. Because what I have understood in my own journey is that anything which is created, which is a creation of this dualistic mind, can never be unlimited. And the truth of who we are lies in the realm of limitlessness, which cannot be learned or understood or comprehended by the limited mind. And so, to create the space to unbuckle ourselves, to drop the load of cabbages that we carry on our head, when we identify with every image, with every role that we play, it becomes very, very difficult for us to have the space to move into that realm that is limitless. And that's when the master comes. And the role of the master is actually to remove all those blocks we may have created for ourselves, knowingly or unknowingly, so that we begin to move faster and faster towards that road, that path of untethered freedom. One of the great gurus often says, even if the cage is a cage of gold, it is still a cage. Real freedom comes when we are able to break free and move beyond. This is the journey of the soul. And to move on this path, various teachers have come throughout the ages to lead us all home. We will take a minute right now just to quieten our minds and give thanks. This year, which has been a very difficult year, which came after another very tough year, it brings us to our knees in so many ways. Each of us has been touched on many levels by the challenges of the last few months, of what our friends and families have gone through, of what we underwent with them. You know, one of the strangest things about this pandemic was the understanding of, or the experience, I would say, of just how interconnected and interdependent we all are on each other. And yet, there has been grace that we are here in this moment. And let us take this moment for two things. One is to give thanks for being present in this very moment with each other, under the umbrella, the protection, the guidance, and the grace of the eternal Guru, who's none other than the Lord. And the second is to pray for all those who are grieving, who are still suffering, who are in pain. May this divine grace descend and heal all those hearts, heal the suffering, lift up those who feel broken. And may a new humanity emerge, rise from the ashes, and come together in the knowing, the understanding, and the experience that we are just one and that the divine is one with us. I was listening to a Guru Purnima talk earlier in the morning today, And the Master just said one thing: let this be the year of thankfulness. Let this be the Purnima of giving gratitude. There is so much to be grateful for. The fact that we can breathe, the fact that we have food and water, the fact that we have loved ones around us. But let us not take any of this for granted. And let us always remember, and I know I said this last time, I will say this every time. One of Swami's messages, which is embedded in every part of my being, which is that to whom more is given, of them more shall be asked. Each of us sitting here has been blessed by the divine in multiple ways, and in the coming times, more and more will be asked of us. And so, as beings, as warriors, as peacemakers, change makers of love and light, we must be ready. And in order to be ready, there is only one thing that is being asked of us, which is to connect with the inner Guru, to connect with that space which is our permanent anchor within, to remember all the messages that the various gurus have given to us throughout our lives, starting with our parents, and then our Sai, and then to all the other gurus who come in various forms. Remember this: all are a manifestation of the One. The mind which differentiates is still trapped in the matrix of duality. The mind which begins to evolve and go beyond the separation is the one who transcends into the Guru Tattva, into the grace of the Guru. Who is a real Guru? He or she is one who has walked on this path, is a being who knows how to navigate the razor's edge, which is what they call this path to the self, to the truth, to moksha, to liberation. And why is it called the razor's edge? It's only one whose sense of ego in all of its subtleties, and mark the word subtleties. You see, the grosser egos are easier to deal with, but the subtle egos can be very, very tricky. And when they emerge, I truly believe without grace, we cannot even catch when the subtle ego emerges. The ego of being spiritual, the ego of being a seeker, the ego of being one who's helpful, and so many other ones. Each of this keeps us bound. When we are ready to stand absolutely stripped of ourselves, then we are narrow enough, subtle enough, light enough to walk on that razor's edge. And that's not all. When we walk on that razor's edge, at the end of it is a needle. And then we have to be so small, so subtle, so shunya that we can pass through the eye of the needle. And then there is a completely different dimension of understanding on the other side. This is the journey and the invitation that our gurus come to take us on. Who is the guru? He or she who holds a vibration of unconditional love. Those of us who were blessed to be in Bhagwan's presence, you will all remember what it felt like to be in Parthi or Whitefield when Swami used to be there. No words were needed. There used to be a joy which used to just overflow from our hearts. There was no effort, nothing else mattered. That time there was no problem, no politics, no jealousy, no envy. It was just we used to be in the space of unconditional grace and love. And very often when I used to come back from there, this feeling would stay with me for some time, and then of course one would get caught up in, the dramas, the circus of the world, and you would really miss feeling the way you felt when you used to be in that field. And I would often wonder why. And then I realized at some point that that's because this is the closest we will get to really understanding or feeling or experiencing what is unconditional love. It's a field, it's a frequency in which you felt complete, Purna. You were not worried about the defects of yourself or of the world. You had no time for any of that because you felt so complete from within. And that is what a real guru does. He or she holds that frequency, that space of divine love, of unconditional love, till you are able to remember and reclaim it within yourselves. It is there in each of us. We started with Shivoham today. Understand the essence of that, of what Adi Shankara tried to say. We are that. We are that Shivam. We are that Shantam. We are that Advaitam. We are that Sundaram. We are that Satyam. But in order to remember and reclaim who we are, we have to be willing to drop everything that we are not, that which we have adopted, but which we are not. When we drop that neti, 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 not this, I'm not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. At the end of that negation, what is that. And that is the Guru. That is the principle. Don't ever mistake this tattva to be limited to just a few great, supreme, enlightened beings. It is there in its nascent, dormant potential within each of us. What is important is to remember the potential within the seed. The seed is only the beginning. The seed is not the end. That is our journey. And so, on this very, very powerful, tremendous night, I invite you all on a short meditation, after which I will be quiet and will open the floor for each of you to share your own understanding, your comments, any questions, queries. This is our co-creative space through the blessings of our gurus. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namah. So I request you all to close your eyes and just be seated in a comfortable space. If some of you want to lie down, that's also fine. Just make sure that your spine is straight. And we will do a Guru meditation today. What can be more appropriate? Let's connect with our beloved. So close your eyes and take a long, deep breath. Straighten your spine. Relax your body. Keep your attention on your breath. Always remember this. And this is a quote from the great Sri Guru, also known as Mahavtar Babaji. When he told a disciple of his who said he was very lonely, he said, "Why do you ever feel lonely? Don't you know that I am your breath?" Absorb the potency of these words. Know that your Guru is your breath and therefore never far from you. Keep your attention on your breath and continue to breathe in long and deep. Pay attention to your abdomen and always remember when you breathe in that your abdomen should gently come out. And when you exhale, it should go in. This kind of conscious, aware abdominal breathing oxygenates and irrigates your entire body. And that has multiple benefits, especially in these times when oxygen is at a premium. As you continue to breathe, now bring your attention into your heart space. And in your heart, visualize a beautiful white lotus. And within the white lotus, turning towards you, see the golden or silver padukas of your Guru. Bend down and touch the padukas in your heart's mind. And slowly move your attention to visualize the form of your Guru, whoever he or she may be. And if you don't want to connect with the form, you can connect with the formless, the light, or even the void. Whoever is the deepest, intimate, most for you, connect with that energy of the Guru. Find yourself seated at his or her divine feet. And from there, look up onto your Guru's face. Remember every detail of the face of your beloved. The complexion and texture of the skin, the creases around when he or she smiles, the hair, the color, the texture, a breeze gently blowing the hair, as many details as visual as possible. And now look at the eyes of your Guru, the eyes which remind you of the oceans of unlimited compassion and love. And just keep your attention there for a few moments. These eyes which can look through you right into your soul, into the deepest recesses which even you are not aware of. These eyes, with just a glance, can heal your deepest pain and pour so much love to heal every part of you. Remember the eyes of your Guru and give thanks. The eyelids which protect, just like the eyelids protect the eye, I protect thee. Swami's words. And now bring your attention back to the feet of your master and whatever you wish to offer, whether it is flowers, whatever is your favorite flower, or sweets. If you'd like to light a lamp and offer it, dhoop agarbatti, you want to ring the bells, your own way of worshipping. your dearest Guru. Please feel free to do that now. And from the material forms of worship, what else would you like to offer at the feet of your Guru, which is not material? Offer that too. Your burdens, your pain, your sorrows, your tears, your love, your joys, your struggles, your challenges, whatever it is. The divine feet is unlimited in being able to receive and to hold and to transmute and to heal. Lighten your loads on this divine day, on an evening where aided by all these amazing cosmic energies, the divine is flowing through the moonbeams straight into our heart, into our being. Bend once more and touch the feet of your Guru. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. And now sit back and just feel the moonlight of the beautiful Purnima in every cell of your body. Feel her cooling, feel her healing, feel her nourishment, feel her nurturing, feel the awakening, feel the remembrance. It's time to awaken to the truth of who you are. Hide no longer from yourselves, O dearest child of God. Hold on to the feet of your Guru, who will continue to guide you and lead you. And just know that in every moment you are taken care of, you are watched, and you are loved. Om Shri Sai Ram. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Take another long, deep breath and slowly bring your attention back into your physical body. Gently flex your fingers and toes. Bring the palms of your hands together. Rub them gently but firmly. Place them on your eyes. And whenever you're ready, you may slowly open your eyes. Jai Guru, Jai Sai. Om Namo Narayana. Jai Guru. With that, I stop here and now I shall just listen humbly. Thank you once again for this opportunity in gratitude and service to the Gurus. Jai Sai.
Thank you so much. Yeah. First of all, I really enjoyed your the chanting of the Gurustuti. That was absolutely beautiful. Second thing that you talked about was first you were talked about the gross ego that comes, which is easier to deal with, but the other subtler ego that you mentioned that sometimes even we are surprised to catch ourselves with. How does one deal with that? Because there are times that, as you said, because we are so caught up, and we think on our end that no, we've worked a lot on ourselves and we've stripped ourselves of a whole ego that we think we may have. But sometimes also we still catch ourselves with a lot of stuff. So how does one deal with that? I don't understand that part of it.
Sure. So, what I do, I can share what I do. So, there are two parts of it. The first part you've already talked about, which is catching yourself in action. Usually, it is when something good has taken place. See, when we are going through struggles, the subtle ego rarely comes in. And that is why all great masters say that what suffering and struggle can teach us from a space of purification, the good part of life will not be able to, because when we are struggling and suffering, the ego doesn't really come up, beyond a point. But when you do something, you're successful at something, there's a lot of accolades, or you feel good about something, that's when you have to watch yourself. So watching ourselves constantly is the tool is the tool to identify when are we moving into that ego space. And what does this ego space mean? When there is a sense that I am the doer, the ego has stepped in. When the same action is done in the same circumstances with the same results, with the knowing that you are the doer, not me, then we are okay. So, whenever the sense of doership comes, what I do is it's kind of a silly practice, but I'll share it with you. I immediately chant 9 times. Nine is always connected with Swami. Nine is the number, right? I'll just chant in my mind, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nothing. I chant that 9 times, and whatever little subtle ego begins to bubble up suddenly becomes quiet. So I have found this to be the most effective practice for myself. But this is only step 2. Step 1 is to constantly observe and watch, and especially when people are praising you, when
Mm-hmm.
others are doing your why, you're so good, you're so great, you're so evolved. This is the biggest trap, and I'm saying this from experience. The moment you fall into that, you're gone. And when you're moving up the ladder, it's a spiral. Our spiritual journey is not a linear straight line, it's a spiral. The thing to remember is this, that the more you climb up the spirals, when you fall, it's like that snake. When you reach snake and ladders, you reach that 99, and then suddenly you come all the way down to the bottom line. Then you've got to start all over again. So when you know that's what the journey is like of the ego, in my own understanding, I think that's this whole, Adam and Eve story with the snake. It's actually symbolic of the falling of the divine aspect of ourselves into this trap of the ego separation. So, once again, watch yourself 24/7. And the moment you find that, doesn't mean you are not happy or you don't celebrate the good that you bring to this world. Celebrate it, surrender the doership. It's the doership which is a problem, not the action in itself.
Sairam,
Yeah.
Lakshmi, this is Anamika from Dallas. About our egos, in the Siddhi Sai Satcharita, I was reading it. Swami says, whether you do good or bad, just, it's everything is connected to me. So offer it to me. So don't be proud or don't have the ego that you have done something nice. So this recently happened to me. This thought just came in because I actually helped someone and I was feeling really good about it. But then I went back and I was thinking about the book and what Swami said that, don't think that you have done it. I have done it. It is my will. I have helped that person through you. So that's what I was constantly thinking. But then the feeling of doing something good always remains. So is that part of your ego, or is it just a good feeling that you've done something nice?
You know, the nature of our soul is Satchitananda, which means it is eternal joy and bliss. So the happiness in itself that we feel when you do something good or right or positive or pure, it's actually a feeling which takes you closer to the truth. So that cannot be wrong. Okay, so the
Okay.
feeling of goodness, hold on to that. It's only when you feel good about every bit of who you are and what you put out there can you spread this love and light outside. So without that, you can't be an agent of love and light. However, your remembrance that it is being done through you and you are not the doer, that is the checkpoint, and you are already doing that. So the only checkpoint we need is to remember and to thank him. In fact, I think very often we would have all experiences when something beautiful happens and you come back and you say, thank you, Swami, thank you, Baba, thank you, Guru, for using me as an instrument. In that act of surrender, there is greater joy. कि आपने मुझे लायक तो समझा. You thought that this could be done through me. That becomes a very intimate exchange between your guru and you. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So this is the intimacy. See, the guru is actually the most intimate relationship that you will ever have. More intimate than your spouse or partner, your children, your parents. It's the
Yes, I
most
always
intimate.
believe, yeah, Guru is my soulmate. He is my
Absolutely.
ultimate soulmate. I don't believe in earth that you can find a soulmate in the body, but you can definitely find Guru as your soulmate. So he is the ultimate destination for me.
Absolutely.
So,
And
so
when you get more and more involved in that intimate love affair, if I can put it like that, you will find that more and more joy, actually, which is not dependent on anything external or even your actions. It's this joy just begins to bubble up from inside of you. That's his gift of grace. So stay in the joy and just renounce all the doership to him.
do we always have to really close our eyes and concentrate like that? Meditation cannot it be like when you're thinking about Swami itself is meditation, isn't it?
Actually, all techniques are useful up to a point till when you're ready to give them up. So, if you are in a state where waking and sleeping, you're connected to the Guru Tattva, to your Guru, to the Master, then you don't need any meditation. But for
Okay.
many of us, what happens is the distractions of the world get too much. And that's when, you sort of just consciously create some time to pull your attention inwards. The whole purpose of meditation is to pull your attention inwards from the five external facing senses to bring it back within. If you feel that there isn't that separation between the external and the internal for you, then that's already meditation. And the simplest way is to just bring your attention back to your breath. You don't need any other technique. If you're just conscious of your breath and you know your guru is your breath, then that is your meditation. I think what I'm realizing as one moves on this path is that, when you're moving closer to the truth, actually things are simpler. They are
Hmm.
not complex concepts, they're not huge constructs, they're not complicated. It becomes so simple, sahaj or saral. It becomes so simple, and which is why they say that you need to have the innocence of a child to be able to perceive the truth. Because it's this other mind, the cultivated mind, which needs very, very complicated understandings of things to feel, oh, if it is truth and everyone's been searching for it, it must be complicated, it must be a tough path. But actually it's quite the contrary. It's so simple. It's so, pardon me, so darn simple. It's as
Um, what you just said about how difficult or how easy it is, like a teacher, I subscribe to your way of thinking. And I really know, I mean, I'm going back to my own teaching, that when I was in school teaching, like the board children, like going for an exam. And while the children were taking the exams, they used to show us the question paper after 1 hour or so. And whenever we saw easy questions there, easy ones,
Mhm.
we would be so sure that our children will not do well. It's very ironical,
Wow.
but our, because our, experience was this, that the children would always be looking for difficult questions to solve, because in school we used to give them the toughest questions to handle
True.
so that they don't get caught in the end over there. But when they saw a simple question, it would be unbelievable for them. And they would think, ye itna easy to ho hi nahi sakta, you know. And so they would be thinking is all complicated ways of solving a simple question. So I think the same thing goes in life also. When something is so simple, God definitely would not have made it difficult for us, because we are his children. And I'm sure he wants us to come back to him. He wants us to come back easily, not with any like we're fighting an exam and or we're fighting odds and things like that. But we create that barrier around us. And that is why we don't dissolve like that salt doll of yours, you know. So that dissolving and that understanding that, yes, it is so simple is the most beautiful thing. Like you said, Beta, that till our egos, the outside world that we are living in doesn't get shattered, till we believe in that, till such time we can't go inward. And it is only once that is shattered that Swami takes us within, and then he holds our hands and takes us forward.
You know what? Bring your attention consciously back to your breath a few times every day. And when you begin to do this more and more and more, which means you cultivate an intimate relationship with your own breath, something spontaneously begins to happen within you, which doesn't need any effort. So just get to know your breath more.
So I have a question which is directly related to the day-to-day life, which is that, in our mind, we discriminate between the difficult situations that we are in, or some important aspects which we really feel, okay, today is a very important thing that is going to happen. So Swami, please help me. So, we remember him then. But a simplest of the act, perhaps going out of the house, not even knowing whether we'll return or not, but we take it for granted. That time we never remember and, talk to our Lord or Guru that, okay, I am going out, just be with me. So how can one, all the time be in that constant integrated awareness and be in that gratitude all the time? I just want to know how to manage that.
My answer to this is very simple. Learn to fall in love again. You know, when you're in love with somebody, you're thinking of them 24/7. That is the kind of intimacy you must have with your Guru, with the Lord. You must know that He is the innermost beloved that is there within you. And therefore, whether you're leaving the house, whether you're deciding what to wear, you're deciding what to eat, what movie to watch, or what job to take on, he or she is there with you constantly, because remember, he or she is your breath, is the love in your heart, is that emotion that you feel in your happiest moments, is that beauty you see in the sunset, is that bird song that you hear. It's that when you suddenly wake up in a beautiful hill station and you just see, the clouds and the mist with the mountains, and you just go into that space of wonder and awe and absolute thoughtlessness. Your most intimate being, your Guru, is there with you. So just remember this: be in love and stay in love all the time. Then there can be no forgetting. And when you fall in love with your Guru, you fall in love with yourself, because you realize this love affair is an inside job. And that in itself completes you in beautiful ways.